You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. We certainly appreciate you being here. Let's all give a hand to the Iron Lady singing the operatic intro to the show. Welcome to the Chris Voss Show, my family and friends. As always, the Chris Voss Show is the family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as that time he took apart your dad's watch, and he has never been proud of you since. We all know who you are. He wrote on the show and told me to tell you that. So whoever's in the audience going, who, me? That's you. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining the show. As always, for 15 years, we've been bringing you the most brightest, smartest people, the CEOs, the billionaires, the White House presidential advisors, the governors, the Congress members, U.S. ambassadors, astronauts, and Pulitzer Prize winners, the most smartest people who bring the condensed version of a lifetime of journeys and lessons and learning that they're sharing with you. And they give you what we call the Chris Voss Show Glow. When you leave listening to these amazing episodes, 3 to 4 a day, 15 to 20 a week, there you go. And all we ask in return for the Chris Voss Show Glow, it's a very simple exchange of commerce, is that you refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss, one on the TikTok, and Chris Voss, facebook.com. We have an amazing young man on the show, Jake Ruth, co-founder and chief executive of StockUnlock.com, is joining us on the show. We're talking about a variety of topics about having the importance of a investing mindset, different ways of failing and building resilience, leveraging skills and interest into your business, and a lot of different other things along the investing scale, and of course, making yourself better. Jake, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully I have that Chris Voss glow going on after that.
The Chris Voss Show Glow. If we don't have it now, by the end of the show, guaranteed. It's in writing. And if you don't believe that, you can call our attorneys. So give us a .com for you. I already did it once, but we like to have our clients do the bookends on there for the guests.
Definitely. So oddly enough, I do have a big TikTok following. So Jake Ruth Official on TikTok, got about 47,000 people over there. My Twitter, or should I say X handle, is Jake M. Ruth. Was not there early enough to get the first name. And then for our business, StockUnlock.com or our Stock Unlock YouTube channel are great ways to figure out more about what we're building and more about our business.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview of StockUnlock and what you guys do.
Yeah, so it came from humble beginnings. It's one of those businesses where we didn't realize we were building a business when we first started working on it. But the 30,000 foot view, we provide investment education and analysis tools that are ignored by apps like Robinhood. So new users come to us to demystify investing in a safe space where there's not confetti popped in their face to make trades and lose money. And also existing experienced investors are coming to us, consolidating down their existing tools because they're saving money, getting a better experience and better service with our software.
There you go. And so they can go to your website, they can sign up, join thousands of investors who improve the quality of their results through making better, confident decisions and using their education and analysis platform. So how long have you guys been building this company?
Yeah, so we officially started writing code for it in 2021. I would like to say I was in New York City hiding from COVID in my room and was just watching a lot of financial YouTubers. So it originally started off with just writing some helpful scripts to help myself in my own investing. There's a whole side plot we can go down to in terms of how I got in contact with Canada's #1 investing YouTuber who I did not know, borderline harassed this poor man for months until I finally forced him to get on a call with me. I'd like to say the rest is history. We actually went through Y Combinator and raised a venture round of funding for our business after launching. That was a $1.3 million round last summer. So happy to talk about that. I would never have imagined actually saying that. So excited to give your audience a lot of value there. And march forward to today. We have thousands of paid users across 91 different countries. And even Stock Unlock aside, whether or not the audience ends up looking at Stock Unlock, most importantly, in value to your audience here, there's so much I am excited to share about investing principles outside of stocks, how you could form a life where you can start taking advantage of your own time. And when you think of things like an investment throughout every facet of your life, it's really going to help set yourself up for future success. So super excited to be talking about that with you today.
Stock Unlock, you can join 28,000 investors. So tell us about your origin story. How did you get to be co-founder of this company? What was your life journey, and what got you, interested in, building software, I think engineering, and being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, the analogy behind everything I'm about to tell you is you don't know what's behind a door until you open it. So I am always opening as many doors as I can, trying out as many things, failing a lot, but then eventually over time, finding things that work for me. So let's flash back to when I was around 10 or 11 years old. My mother had to stop me from having lemonade stands because I was having lemonade stands so much that it was annoying the neighbors. I had a construction worker give me $20 once as a tip, and it was as if my life was complete. There was something about that moment, exchange of capital for services, where I never really looked back. Once I was not allowed to have lemonade stands anymore, I started selling all of my toys and things for 5 or 10 cents, kind of heckling people coming.
Wow. Were you trying to run away from home and fund it, or what was? Did you just get the bug of entrepreneurism? What put the bug in you?
So I always wanted money for things when I was younger, and I grew up in a middle-class family, but definitely, just had what we needed. Didn't really go on any lavish vacations or anything. So even from a young age, my father taught me, you work for an allowance. I would have to save up my own money. I bought my own cell phone, and this is back in 2006 or 7 as a 7th grader. So always realized that in order to get what I wanted in life, I needed to do the work and make it happen for myself.
There you go. You've got to do the work.
Yeah.
The work is so important. And so you start some companies as you get older?
Yeah. We'll breeze past the weird parts where I was riding a unicycle in the woods, going to Rubik's Cube competitions in high school. I've always been a huge
That sounds
nerd.
like the most interesting, actually.
Speed cubing is a huge sport.
So you were doing speed cubing, those guys that I see on TikTok and Instagram where they, 6 seconds, they solve the Rubik's Cube?
Yeah, it's a lot of competition too. So going from the lemonade stand stories of selling and making money, I also loved competition and just competing against other people in a holistic way, not we're going to stomp your face off and leave you bleeding on the sidewalk. Kind of, let's have a really good competition. May the best person win. And at the end, you look back and exchange ideas after to see how you could both do better.
Are there gangs that do that where there is a bleeding on the sidewalk if you don't get the Rubik's Cube fast enough? That sounds like something in maybe out of Compton or something.
I'll tell you about that after the show. the Rubik's Cube gang's not to be messed with.
Really? Take away the pocket protectors and stuff. So what got you interested in software and building software companies?
Yeah, my anger towards school and the education system, which has been a bleeding theme through my life. I often hear you say, Chris, I didn't make it through 2nd grade. Well, I'm going to one-up you there. I got held back in preschool, actually. Oh. They didn't let me go to kindergarten with everyone else because I wasn't ready.
Held you back in kindergarten or preschool? Wow. That's a joke we wrote, right? That's not even...
No, I got held back in preschool, but that's a story for another time. How I got into coding in this business is math was the only thing I ever really understood. I was more into what girl I was going to text next or what party I was going to go to in high school. All the testosterone stuff.
Seen that movie, yeah.
And my math teacher, her name's Miss Nalbandian, bless her soul. I had taken so many math classes. It was the only thing I was really good at that I was being forced to take AP Calc. But I am a person that does not take AP classes. So I learned that I could get around taking AP Calc by taking AP Computer Science instead, which was a coding course. I took that course and never looked back. The second I saw software get written on the board, over the past 12, 13 years, I've been a software crackhead. I can't stop coding. I do it in my spare time. I do it for my job. And Stock Unlock is a culmination of about a decade of experience failing at past startups, shutting down past companies, working as a software engineer, and eventually building up the social skills and networking capacity to form teams, and then eventually change everything that I have learned from nerdy Rubik's Cubing software engineering goodness into a real product that people actually want, that they want to purchase, and that they keep coming back towards because it just provides them that much value.
So it sounds like you've gone through the journey of an entrepreneur. You've tried stuff, you failed, you've tried stuff, maybe you didn't like it, you moved to something else. So you've been doing the practice runs basically before you hit success.
Yeah, it's less of a choice and more something that I just find myself doing. I can't sit still, always trying new things, and it's always been something that's ran through me.
And, that's what I do with a lot of my companies. I'm just trying the first one and then being like, I don't want to do this. You throw a lot of different sticks up against the wall, or see what sticks to the wall, that for that matter. And then one day, if you keep throwing stuff up against the wall, something sticks. Holy crap, that stuck.
Yeah, I think Mark Cuban says, it doesn't matter how many things you try, because you only need one thing to work, and that's it. And I'm excited to relate to your audience today, because some of the people you bring on are very accomplished, decades into their career, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Other people are authors, astronauts. I sit right there in the middle, so I can still see both sides, kind of the land here. So we have raised money. We do have a business building, but I'm not going to try to do an illusion of grandeur here. I'm not worth tens of millions of dollars. We don't have millions and millions of dollars in revenue. We are on the path towards getting towards our first million in revenue, but want to be very clear to your audience. I'm someone that is on the journey, constantly learning, will continue to make mistakes. I'm really looking forward to being able to relate to your audience on that level here.
There you go. Well, the stories are the most valuable part, the lessons learned, because those are worth trillions of dollars or billions of dollars. I suppose in what does Anthony Robbins always say? Knowledge is power in the extent that you use it. But the amount of lessons that we can learn from the wonderful guests we have on the show are the most important. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the importance of an investing mindset. You, of course, deal with investing on your website, and I suppose that applies to being an entrepreneur, what you do and your stuff, or investing for a financially free life. Why is that important? And let's get into the importance of that mindset.
Yeah, one is incredibly important, and two, this is something most people don't have, which includes myself for a long time. So I'm sure many of your audience, it seems including ourselves, went through the public education system. Lots of good things about it, lots of bad things about it. And one thing they do not give you is financial literacy. They more so train you to be a 9-to-5 worker, right? Don't jostle outside the lines too much, play your role. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the concept I want to introduce to your audience today is a change of mindset as to what investing means. So investing, when we usually hear it, is, someone transacts and buys a stock, or they buy a house. And those are all right. Those are examples of investing. However, there's a bigger picture here. The concept of investing, taking it out and doing that 30,000 foot view, as you said before, is allocating your time and resources into something, which is an investment or a sacrifice, in hopes to see a greater return at the end. So this also extends to personal development. So for example, I would not be in this place today if I didn't spend a decade investing in my own skills as a software engineer. If I didn't spend years networking and investing time to build a network with creators, influencers, as well as engineers, to be able to form teams to start companies. So I want to challenge your audience to think about investing as a mindset. Everything they spend their time doing, all the little decisions, those are the moments that make up your life. Even things as small as, are you going to buy the Starbucks coffee? Are you going to buy the pack of coffee? What's that money going to turn into the future? If I go to this party 3 nights a week instead of 1, and the other 2 nights I actually buy a course and gain my skills, how is that going to multiply? And to end this little mini rant, it comes down to compounding returns and compound interest, because humans don't understand the power of compounding, in my frank opinion.
Let's get into that. I used to have my dad used to always do this thing when I was a kid in the 70s. He'd do it with other people. He'd always say, do you want $1 million now, or do you want a penny a day on compound interest for the next 10 years or something? I think the example he used was, everybody say, as kids we're like, we'll take the $1 million now or something. I don't remember the exact metrics, but I think most people have heard this analogy. And really, the penny a day on compound interest is like more valued or something like that over whatever the X term it is.
I just looked it up to remind myself. It's 5.3 million by the end of 30 days.
Is it 30 days or 30 years?
So 30 days, and
30 days? Holy crap.
So if you double a penny every day for 30 days, it will be worth over $5 million, according to the Google search I just did. So maybe someone will embarrass me in the comments after that. But the most important part of that is when you're halfway through that doubling, you're still in the thousands. So Where the compound returns come is at the tail end. And 99% of people, it's not that they don't have the patience for it. No one just taught us the mindset framework of the investing mindset. So you don't know what you don't know. And most people exit the game or take a loss too early, not realizing that most of the compound returns come in the second half of the compounding cycle. And we're talking about decades here.
And so should it be a short-term investing mindset or a long-term investing mindset?
Great question. 100% long-term investing. I would actually say that there is no such thing as short-term investing. That would be trading. And I'm not saying that's bad, right? Like you need to find the right balance, but an investment is a very long-term dedication of resources, dedication of time to see, think about it. You plant a seed. It takes a while for that seed to germinate and grow into a flower. That's really what you're doing with investing. You're planting the seed, you're watering it, and you're making sure at the tail end, it becomes a beautiful flower.
The tail end of the beautiful flower. There you go. I believe there's a OnlyFans name that. I'm not sure what it means. So let's talk about failing leading to resistance. And there's failures in investment. You know, you make a bad choice, making a bad investment. There's failures of time. How does failures lead to resistance?
Yeah, this topic's really hard because, including myself, a lot of people have been burned investing, not only in themselves, but in the market. So when a lot of people see anyone come up and talk about investing, they almost have a visceral reaction of, oh, they're trying to sell me something, or, you know, it's someone trying to scam me. And the entire vibe of what I'm trying to share here is, I don't care if people listen to the show and go off invest or they don't invest, but what people need is like more data and information behind making that decision. So what I like to believe is when people are equipped with the correct information, they can then come to their own conclusion about if they want to invest or not. So you can avoid failures, finally answering your question, by getting the correct information. And common failures we see is people buying a stock because they heard someone else talk about it at a bar. People going to Wall Street bets, which is very huge, and saying, oh, we're going to squeeze the shorts. We're going to, you know, buy AMC or GameStop and shoot it to the moon. And the unfortunate reality of that is people are just gambling and trying to get rich quick. And it really tarnishes and puts a bad name on investing in the market, because it puts this false mindset into most retail investors' minds that the stock market's rigged. We can't win at this. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to go get a financial advisor. I'll always be losing. And that could not be more far from the truth. That's just what media and Wall Street wants you to believe. But in 2023, the tools, open data, and software is getting more open source to a point where the tools that were not available to retail investors 10, 20 years ago for basic accounting, reading a balance sheet, reading an income statement, cash flow, realizing that stocks are not gambling chips and that they actually have people working behind them, products behind them, moats around their business, the fog really starts to clear. So many of the failures from investing really stem from a lack of appropriate access to information, as well as a safe environment where you're not in a Robinhood app having confetti popped in your face because they want you to take out more margin to buy more Dogecoin. That is what typically gets investors in a bad spot.
Definitely. I mean, it's really important to think of what you need to do for the long term and everything else. Leveraging your skills and interests. Tell us about how to leverage skills and interests to do what you want to do. You guys use this to partner up with Canada's #1 investing YouTube with subscriber counts, and using your software engineering skills. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, so there's two parts we could take to this. It's one, how do you view like your own skills when starting a business versus how do you apply that to investing? So for those watching who want to learn how to start a business, you need to recognize where your strengths and weaknesses are. So for me, my strength is product creation, software engineering, building teams, as well as kind of like being a little bit of hype, but more on the raising money investment side of things. What I am not good at is distribution, marketing, sales. And if you don't have distribution, you could have the best product in the world. You could put all the time and engineering effort into it. But if no one knows you exist, you're going to fail and no one will buy it.
That's true.
So the reason why I spent so much time harassing Daniel Pronk, poor soul, online, is because he had hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube. He was using the existing investment platforms, overpaying for them, and also using Excel sheets. So in terms of leveraging skills and finding the right ways to maximize your output in society, I noticed I need someone with distribution sales. I have the engineering product side of things. So flashing through the harassment side of this, when Daniel actually got in contact with me, we are the perfect match because I'm able to powerhouse out high quality product, really great software that people genuinely get value out of it to the point where they self-decide on their own to pay for it. And then Daniel's distribution marketing sales channel to his YouTube subscribers, as well as the network he has to other creators, was really the distribution that we needed. So that was the perfect handshake match made in heaven there. And I'll take a pause on that if you have a question. The other half of that answer would be actually applying your strengths more towards the stock market and investing. However, I know you cater to multiple audiences here.
Yeah, let's parlay that into the investing and how you're using that on your guys' website, et cetera, et cetera.
Definitely. So whether you like to believe it or not, and I'm speaking directly to you, the listener of this podcast, you have unique skills and insights that other people don't have. I don't care if you are working in a kitchen as a cook, if you are working as a software engineer like me, if you are in a marketing department, you have unique insights into the products and tools being used there. You see the inefficiencies. If you're working as a cook at a restaurant, you'll see what products they're using. You'll see what is the name of the manufacturers and all the equipment. And a lot of these companies are public companies. So what people need to realize with investing is after you start getting the beginning principles down, you start to learn how to read balance sheets, cash flow statements, income statements. So you start to look at management and understand what's their product, what's their moat, who are their competitors. You can then take your own unique, you can take your own background for whatever it is that you're interested in and then apply that to the stock market. There are tens of thousands of companies out there. So you could look for restaurant supplies companies. You could look at food companies. You could look at software shops. And I have seen a lot of my friends that work in marketing, product, and other organizations that will see their company start paying for Jira, which is a product by Atlassian, which is a public company, or people starting to use Paycom, which is PayC, ticker symbol on the stock market. You'll start noticing these trends, and then you can take your knowledge of how to invest from sites like Stock Unlock to in a carefree place, really analyze those investments and see if you want to start allocating some of your capital into things that you actually understand. Because if you can't explain what you own in the stock market to a 5-year-old, you should not buy it. And that is the number one principle people miss, because they buy things they don't understand, they lose money, they think the system's rigged. And 95% of people, Chris, to be quite frank, do have the brain to do this stuff. And even if you are a passive investor, you still want to take around 5% of your capital and put into more risky investments, put into ESG, put it behind things you care about. Nike's a public company. Starbucks is a public company. Airbnb is a public company. All the big outlet stores, beauty and makeup companies are public. There is a whole industry out here for us to become a part of. And I think it's a huge miss by American society, as well as the mindset most Americans have, that this is just something that we can't touch. It's actually never been more accessible to get into it. But it's incredibly important that you have the right tools and mindset where you don't just run in and start YOLOing your money. It's very important to have access to information, know what you're doing, and also not be afraid to not invest. If you start looking into it and you realize it's not for you, don't do it. Buy an index fund, right? But at least now you know.
And how does that parlay into what you guys have on the site for stockunlock.com? I'm seeing a lot of really cool stuff that you have here for analyzation. Let's get into your business and talk about how people can parlay what we've talked about into utilizing what you guys have to offer. It looks like there's a lot of stock insights and graph stuff. Tell us about how we can parlay that into this.
100%. So I also have a great offer at the end of our show, but I'll bookmark that for now.
Okay.
The reason why we built Stock Unlock, because people might be thinking, okay, cool, but there's other like investment platforms out there. There's a handful of issues with existing investment platforms. One, and what relates to your audience, they are not usable by newbies. Even if you go to Yahoo Finance, if you have never looked at a stock before, the price is bouncing everywhere. There's volume, there's price to earnings ratio, there's operating margin, there's a market cap. It is just an information overload. So right off the bat, most people can't even use the existing tools on the market today since they're not designed with newbies in mind. Second off, the price of these tools is ridiculous. You'll have companies charging $50, $60, $100 a month, thousands of dollars a year, even in the range of $30, $40 a month. Chris, to be quite frank, is highway robbery. Your cash flow is very important, and most of that cash should be put into investing in assets, not going into, some corporation that's overcharging for software. It's also very inaccessible. So the software that is out there today is very hard to use. It's poorly designed. So Stock Unlock is very unique and special, where over half of the people coming to Stock Unlock are beginner investors. So let's use an analogy here, Chris. When you ride a bicycle, you're never going to go on a bicycle without the training wheels on the bike. You're going to fall, you're going to trip, you're going to get scraped up. So we put training wheels into Stock Unlock. There is a learning mode toggle at the top of our site with one click, you'll see little question marks pop up everywhere. So that example I used before with Yahoo Finance, where you're looking at all the stock information, all the numbers, you don't know what everything means, it's overwhelming. We have a very light touch approach where question mark education widgets will show up. It gives you the definition, how to calculate it, how investors use it. We also have tons of free YouTube content outside of the site where people can watch it, start to learn how to read balance sheets, cash flow statement, income statements, all the financial data that comes out of the Security Exchange Commission, and all these very big acronyms that sound scary until you use a site like Stock Unlock. Our price is incredibly accessible, and with the code I'm going to share at the end of this show, it'll be even more accessible. So we just charge $8.99 a month or $89.99 a year. 55% of our subscribers are yearly. We have 80% paid retention year over year. And the reason why is the tools that we provide there cover all the tools from other platforms that are charging hundreds of dollars a month. We are completely arbitraging the space with highly accessible, highly accurate financial data with training wheels for beginners, so you know what you're looking at. And then we layer on all the tools investors need, from watch lists, portfolio tracking, running discounted cash flow calculators. And we hear from our customers every single day how much time and money we're saving them. And 97%, which is a real number, we just pulled this, of Stock Unlock subscribers claim that Stock Unlock has made them a better investor. So that is what we offer to people coming to our site today. And I can promise you that we are more accessible than any other site. Everything's free to use too. So we follow the freemium software package, Chris. So you go to our site, no email, everything's free. And you only pay us after a free trial, which also does not require a credit card. Like, you're only ever going to give us money, Chris, if you actually look at this and you say, I like it. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. We hardly ever get asked for refunds. But if someone asks, we just give it to them. We really stand by the value of what we create and are continuing to grow organically by users of the platform telling their friends.
There you go. And you guys have a Discord as well for your community.
Yeah, and that is totally free. Some of it's Stock Unlock subscribers, some is not. But again, the co-founder of this business, who's not here, Daniel Pronk, this guy has 213,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's a very trusted source for fundamental investing, non-predatory investing, not trading, not reading candlestick charts. This is very, honestly, how it should be, just boring in terms of you're not like watching a, stock chart bounce around. You're like drawing a dinosaur on it and basically being like, oh, I need to enter here and sell there. That's not what we're selling. The Discord is a free community. YouTubes are free. We're just about to film our 49th episode of our live show that we're a year into, actually in a couple hours on our Stock Unlock YouTube channel, which will be great. And yeah, we're more than just a software package. We're also starting to add AI into our tooling. We're going to have a big relaunch coming up at the beginning of 2024. So we are a startup moving quick, solving our customers' problems. And we exist, live, eat, breathe, sleep, die every day by leaving Stock Unlock and our customers in a better place than when we woke up. So it's a constantly evolving, improving platform.
So I'm looking at your website, man. I put in Amazon as a stock to get charts and the data on. This is pretty amazing. I mean, you guys have it's like an all-in-one shop of all the data I could ever want to look at stuff. You guys even have some evaluations of flags, green flags or red flags. You give it a score from your insights thing, and so I can see the the normal thing most people will be looking for, the 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, year to date, 3 or 5 year max sort of adjustment of the score. But then you also have the financials. So I've got revenues, earnings, free cash flow, insider transactions. That's kind of interesting to be able to see. Price targets that people are expecting. You even got the SEC filings, the 10Qs here. I did day trading, so this is all just juicy, wonderful bits. You've got the data on the company, similar stocks, and then you've got a whole host of different tabs where you can go into insights, do analyzation side by side. You can see their financial health, their growth, their profitability, management, valuation. This is really interesting how this breaks down. You've got another tab for the financials and overall revenue and different breakdowns that you would find on the balance sheet. And you've got them mapped out in a graphical sense. Dividend data, analyst data for price targets, because if they don't, that's the one thing, sometimes a company can make a profit, but if they don't hit the expected market targets, those are going to go down. And then you've got insider data. You actually have the names of, there's Jeffrey Bezos doing a grant and different things. You have all the insider transaction details, at least the ones that are posted, and ownership things. Wow, it's just, you guys have everything you could ever want on a stock, I think, when it comes to data.
Yeah, we are product experts here, and admittedly, we have areas of improvement for just marketing and sales. So it's a huge pleasure to be introducing this to your audience today, and I'm glad you brought up the insight scores. So whenever you're looking at a company, there's a few things you want to look at, right? How much debt does this company have? Do their liabilities outweigh their assets? How is this company priced in terms of its overall market capitalization versus the earnings that it's creating? Has there been a lot of insider selling? What's the ownership, et cetera, et cetera? And our insight scores is a very simple 1 to 5 score that breaks down into around 7 or 8 categories that tell you a bit about the health of a business. These are not buy or sell signals, but they do save a ton of time and are especially helpful to newbies because a lot of people don't know where to start. Insight scores are a perfect place to start, and it's some of the best feedback we have on our platform. And as you saw, Chris, we really offer everything. This stuff typically costs $50, $100 a month. We're, again, really arbitraging the space as a startup where I personally identified ways to bring this software at a much lower cost in a much accessible way to consumers. But, we're just one guy from New York, one guy in Canada, and now a team of about 5 or 6 people. So we are working very hard to let everyone know about this because it's a huge opportunity, a huge gold mine for so many people. And we know that it's time to grow and scale our company. So it's a pleasure to be with you and a ton of other entrepreneurs on the show. Because I'm very confident we'll look back on this and say, wow, we talked to Stock Unlock all the way back, in 2023, because we have very, very big goals for where we're taking our business.
Awesome. And it looks great. It's very easy in the layout and on the eyes to figure. Sometimes when you look at stock data websites, they look kind of like math, or algebra, and you're like, what's going on here? They're very analytical, mind oriented. They can get access to 170,000 plus stocks across 65 plus global exchanges, free newsletter. You can start a 14-day trial there as well. Tell us about the offer you have for people that you were going to throw out.
Yeah, and I should be careful how I word this because, in my opinion, we are practically giving away this software. So if you check out with code VOSS, VOSS at checkout, you will get 30% off our already incredibly low prices. I need to remind the audience, everything is free anyways for your 14-day free trial. So when we're talking about 30% off, this is after you have tried every single piece of software across the entire tool for 2 full weeks. And then you could very calmly decide on your own if you want to enter a business exchange with us, which is a very nerdy way of saying you pay us money and you continue to access the website.
There you go. Yeah, you guys have, I don't know, this is just tons of data. Stock Unlock Insights, a DCF calculator, analyst data, personal and public watch list. Those are really important to have. And it's really inexpensive where you can go in and do everything. Did you guys work with Y Combinator? Did you ever, I noticed one of the companies you work with is Y Combinator. Did you ever do any startups through those folks?
Yeah, so we were in the Y Combinator winter 2022 batch. So Y Combinator was our first professional investor, and they definitely played a very critical role in helping myself and both Daniel, the other co-founder, mature in terms of how we run a business, talk to investors. That's why I would have never, ever predicted we would end up here. Because when we started building Stock Unlock, it was just a couple nerds hacking in their apartments, solving their own problems because we were really pissed off at the existing tools. Like I said, too expensive, not beginner accessible, didn't give you what you needed. So it all happened, quote, by chance, where Y Combinator actually found and reached out to us because they saw that we were generating a lot of momentum with what we were building. So it was an honor to be associated with Y Combinator and have them as an investor. And they definitely played a critical role in helping us raise money from investors, have a more mature view for our business, and really see the $1 billion idea here that we're encroaching up upon against, as opposed to kind of like a mom and pop shop software company.
And who are the best clients for you guys? Is this you said you're, I think I'm from Canada. Where in the world can this be used? And what sort of investors are the best sort of investors that will, that love your service?
Yeah. We sell across 91 different countries. Some places where we're discovering product moats that we have, we're very unique, is we have the best portfolio tracker for fundamental investing as well as currency conversion. So if you're a European customer, you can connect all your different European brokerages, sync them all, view them in one common currency. You can track stocks on different stock exchanges if you are that crazy. And then for the beginner users, again, the training wheels and education mode, as well as the insight scores and all the education and accessibility in terms of not being too nerdy on the math and the site make it really, really accessible. So to date, we have just over now 2.7 thousand paying subscribers. Those are all retail consumer investors. Around 3/4 of those are the United States, followed by Canada and then the UK. Where we are moving towards is also selling to colleges, financial advisors. We are really just on the beginning of our journey here, Chris. We have spent 2 years building what we believe is a stellar, way underpriced for its value product that, by the way, we are not planning on raising the price on that much more. We're going to continue to arbitrage. So anyone who is a beginner investor who wants to learn about the market that's never touched it before, Stock and Lock is for you. If you are an existing investor spending over $10 or $20 a month on other software tools, you should consolidate down to us because I guarantee we do it better for a lower price. If you are a financial advisor and you track other portfolios for people's accounts that you manage, Stock and Lock is for you. If you are a college student learning about the market, putting this into your coursework, or a professor who's looking to really supercharge their classroom, contact us because we do sales and licenses to colleges. And those are the main consumer segments. It's really anyone that wants to learn more about investing. And I'll end this mini rant by saying, we don't give a shit what you do with your cash after you use Stock and Lock. I don't fucking care if you buy Dogecoin. I don't care if you go out and buy Amazon stock, right? What I care about is people to stop making foolish, frivolous decisions with their capital because I hear someone at a bar talk about squeezing AMC because people will do hours and hours of research on buying a toaster, but they won't do any research on buying a stock. So for the love of God, just spend the cost of a half minimum wage dollar of work, the cost of a beer at a bar, put this data in front of you and at least be more informed. You will surprise yourself with how much either better decisions you'll make or terrible decisions you'll avoid making just by giving yourself the tools to make the right decision on stocks. It is that
most definitely. That's a wonderful pitch out. Final thoughts of we go out or pitch out to people to sign up with the service.
Again, code VOSS, VOSS at checkout, give you 30% off. We're talking that is as low as $6.29 a month, or it goes down to about $62.99. Those are both in USD currencies. I want to thank you again for having me on. It is a pleasure to be on here. You have one of the best intros to any podcast I've ever heard to give you serious brain bleed. I love it. So it's been a pleasure, and I want to thank the audience for tuning in. And if you ever need to get in contact with us, again, my name is Jake Ruth. You can go to stockandlock.com. If you contact support, it'll be one of the founders answering you, or our executive assistant, Nestor. And we are really looking forward to interacting with your community, also sharing your show in our communities. You know, we got a huge audience as well. So I'm here to bring you value as well, Chris, although it seems like you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while, but we appreciate the support.
Definitely. Thanks so much. I mean, it's been a super fun time. I love your energy.
There you go. Thank you. And I love yours as well. So give us the .coms as we go out.
All right. And lock.com. Again, totally free to try. I won't repitch. That's what we've been talking about this entire time. My handles on social, Jake M. Ruth is my X or Twitter handle. Again, Jake M. Ruth. And then on TikTok, if you are brave enough to go to that social media platform, it is wild out there. Jake Ruth Official. I've got around 47,000, maybe bots, maybe real people following me on there. And I'd love to continue the conversation. I'm very friendly. Love talking about investing, stocks, startups, anything like that. And if you want to catch more of Stock and Lock in terms of shows and content, Daniel Pronk on YouTube, Stock Unlock podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And we do live shows on our YouTube account as well. So thank you for the time to make the plug.
Thank you for coming on the show, Jake. We really appreciate it. It's been fun and interesting. We learned a whole lot. So thanks, Monis, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Join the big LinkedIn newsletter. That thing grows like a weed, and 130,000 group over there on LinkedIn as well. Go to Chris Voss 1 on TikTok. You know all the shows. You guys have heard it all. Chris Voss, Facebook.com, I think is the one I missed. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We certainly appreciate it. Go to all the wonderful places we have on the net. Support all of our guests. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And